hookup culture and why I hate it. I don't know if you've heard of disposable temporary satisfaction. That makes you feel guilty and regretful. People who partake in hookup culture are using others to feel better about themselves or fill a void. Maybe you're doing it to feel better about yourself, to have somebody else validate who you are, and to feel less lonely. But the truth of it is that you are using somebody for a momentary high, and they are using you for a momentary high as well. Not only does it make you feel used and disrespected by the other person, but it's a double slap because you have disrespected yourself. You're basically subconsciously telling yourself, I'm not good enough for more. I'm going to settle for no commitment, no devotion, no sacrifice, no feelings, no strings attached, nothing. And you're inadvertently investing your valuable time and emotions in something that you'll regret later. And that, my friends,
The hookup culture is very tricky because it's an illusion. It seems very mystical for people who aren't participating in the hookup culture. It seems like, man, like a utopia, of women just being thoughts and girls going home easily, getting girls to come over to your place off dating apps. It seems like this special thing, right? But looking back, man, it was a very dangerous game. Me participating in the hookup culture was a very dangerous game. I've gotten myself into some sketchy situations with different girls. I could have possibly gotten me too several times, probably, of women, getting angry, or they, some things didn't kind of go right, or something misunderstanding, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I used to pull girls home and I would just want to play their video games. Like, after I smash, I didn't want to like talk or have affection or like cuddle. Like, nah, bro, I didn't want to, like, as soon as I finished, I was already kind of buzzed off the booze. So I'll be like, fuck, I want to play video games, So I would instantly regret it and just realize how much of a waste of time it was.
I consider this video somewhat of like a public service announcement because not enough incels hear this. And yet it's all over the place. It's all, if you want to see this, you can see it. But I can tell you, like, if I have any types of, incel, whatever, associated type people here listening, I would really just want you to understand that there is absolutely nothing that you're missing out on in this modern dating culture. Fine, you can say you're missing out on the validation of getting with women, and yeah. Other than that, the things that come with chasing that ideal have wrecked so many guys before they're even the age of 30. Like, definitely have landed guys in prison, definitely have landed guys in coffins, have landed guys in all kinds of mental traumas and addictions. Because one thing I've never really understood about inceldom, or like the incel as a concept, is, what's your understanding of social dynamics? And what about these social dynamics have made you involuntarily celibate? Involuntarily, right? Which means you had no choice in your celibacy. It was imposed. And I could say, yes, you look at dating statistics, you look at female nature itself, you look at what is idealized in society, and I can see how a concept like being an incel can come up. But at the same time, it's not something that you should really lament over or like to have as a chip on your shoulder. When you come to the realization that social dynamics are in fact bullshit, why do you need to define yourself in contrast to them? It's almost like you want to hold on to them as a means of, how do I say it? I'm not trying to trash incels here. Like, I don't really I trash people by what they choose to perpetuate, ultimately, right? I do understand the incel mentality. I think, as a guy, you can kind of understand the incel mentality. Maybe not a Chad or a Tyrone, I don't know, but like most guys can kind of understand it. They may say different things about it, but they can understand. Even with that, like, just thinking about the things I could have avoided, or the kind of like, I have literal, like, I would say I'm mind fucked by some of the absolute stupidity that some women have pulled. But I can't even say that because I'm still trying to process it years later. Like, what the fuck was the end goal, It was a waste of my time and my energy, and like, you know, what exactly was it that I was... You don't think when you're that young, you don't. But the thing is, that trend continues on into your 20s. And now talking to guys, like 4 of my friends over the past 3 months have broken up with their girlfriends for a number of reasons. But even then, seeing how some of them have had to end their relationships, I felt so much relief that I wasn't involved in any of it, because like, you're doing all this for sex? For like sex and like admiration from other men or something? That's why people, like, literally, you sit down and talk to guys who do this, and they'll be like, yo, it's getting out of hand, and like, I don't want to do this, I don't want to be here. But like the next weekend, they're doing the exact same thing they said they hate. So what's going on? They know they're in a destructive pattern, self-destructive pattern, but they won't stop because they're too invested. And I've seen guys, like I've seen friends or mutual friends who've been stalked by their ex-girlfriends. And yet the cops fixate on like my mutual friend, even though like we all know like his ex-girlfriend is fucking nuts. Like, when I say stalk, I mean stalking. And it's one reason why, like, what I talk about on my channel is firmly against this like alpha male red pill manosphere culture. It doesn't benefit the average man. It doesn't benefit you because they'll sell you what you want to hear, what makes you feel good, so that you can keep giving them ad revenue and buying their products. But if I told the average man, it doesn't benefit you to waste your life trying to provide for women, or trying to seek validation from men by getting more women, by getting with women, or, you name it. I will be seen as an incel if I say that. But we know it's the truth. And I always say, you don't have to chase people's validation. In fact, if you could stop, that would be wonderful. That includes validation from the opposite gender, maybe the same gender, or whatever genders are out there right now. Whatever the case, right? We're still chasing the same things. We're just using different names for them. Like, even just from, leave alone the social aspect of it, the disease side of this modern dating culture and hookup culture is something that is going to affect this generation very, very negatively. STDs alone have skyrocketed in ways that you can't even process. There are STDs that live in the throat. There are STDs that, like, once you get them, you will be chronically treating them for the rest of your life. And it only takes one time, by the way. And people, like, I get so disgusted when I hear guys talk about how they were like raw dogging in like a club or a car, and I'm like, yo, you're not even going to see these women again. Like, you met them that day and then you had sex with them that day and you're not going to see them, and like, so you could have got them pregnant, they could have given you a disease, you could have given them a disease, and this cycle just repeats and repeats and repeats. I find it abhorrent. I can't lie. And I think it's one reason why, like, I'm not somebody who can stifle my opinions anymore. Even when my friends talk about these things, I will straight up tell them, like, yo, that's disgusting. That is literally disgusting. Like, why are you doing that? Right? If they're telling me. And more so for women. I don't know. I don't know if men can develop pelvic inflammatory disease. I think they probably could, maybe. But I know it's very prevalent in women. I can't remember which STD it's spread by, but again, the rates of it are increasing. And it's like, why the hell are we even discussing about morality anymore in the common culture? Why is it morality still being brought up? You've got people that want to go back into like the 1800s, then you've got other people who are just like, they're like this close to just advocating for people to fuck on the streets. Like, I don't necessarily like slippery slope arguments, but I think the fallacy of a slippery slope argument is a fallacy itself, because like, if I point at a slope and I'm like, hey, that's a slippery slope, you're gonna be like, oh man, you just I don't know, like, you're just being delusional or just being pedantic, whatever, right? But it's a slippery slope. You can see people sliding down that slope, and you point it and say it's a slippery slope, right? If you can see the connection from one place to another and it's going down, I would say that is a slippery slope, right? People invoke that as a fallacy so they don't have to actually think. Like I've said before, taboos are out in the open now. Without taboos around, taboos will no longer exist. Like, I hope I don't need to explain why. You can say whether or not taboos existing is good and bad, or the dynamics behind why they exist is good or bad, right? That's a whole nother discussion. But if people, I mean, you could even call bootlicking a kink, right? Or like culturally bootlicking, let me say that, right? Maybe you like the taste of boots, I don't know. But the people who reinforce the dynamics that keep most human beings like miserable, I do think that's a form of a kink, and you can call it sadism. It's like sadism is a kink all on its own. Or I don't know, maybe is it really? I don't know, right? Even with that, gender dynamics have made less and less sense every single day. They just keep making less and less sense, and people don't even know what they are conforming to anymore. They don't even understand what it is they're trying to conform to anymore. You'll have some people realizing modern dating culture and hookup culture is terrible. Then you have others who continue to triple down on it. And people, one thing people are going to do is have sex. That much is true. But at the same time, while there's all these negative outcomes for women, there are also these negative outcomes for men. Like I've said, you can get all kinds of, because it comes with a lifestyle, by the way. It's not just sex. It comes with a lifestyle. It comes with clubbing, going to bars, drinking, doing all kinds of drugs, like having regular unprotected sex with people you've never even met before. Like, you don't know them past like maybe a few days or something. like I've seen guys be addicted to not just like sex itself, but like recreating that lifestyle even when none of the people they normally go out with are around. They have to recreate, and it's such an obnoxious type of behavior. They have to recreate it. They have to either go to a strip club that night or call like a hooker or something that night, and like these these kinds of things are just so freaking foreign to me, right? It's not like I'm saying that's bad or whatever, but like if you generally ask somebody why they're doing these things, they don't even know. They don't want to, but they are, a slave to their addictions, or rather the validation of other people. That's why they do it. And that's why I really can't associate with somebody who doesn't actually live what they say. You could be a piece of absolute shit, but if you live that way, I'll be like, that's an authentic person right there. But if you pretend, if you put out this face of like goodness and like being decent and all charming, but like, secretly you're just like you're like a sadistic type of degenerate. I can't deal with people like that. I can't, right? I think I've found like the less friends I have over the years, the more they tend to be very stubborn people, but they're very stubborn about the right things. Can it get annoying? Sure. But that's not even really annoying because like you're seeing a person actually fighting to be who they want to be, right? And most people will never get that far. Your grandparents probably didn't get that far. Your parents definitely didn't. And a lot of us won't. A lot of people are already in this, like, I don't even know what to call it. The metaverse, the technosphere. A lot of people are already there, by the way. Their minds have already been uploaded to the system. I'm sorry to tell you. Look at what happens when Facebook goes down for like forget Facebook, Instagram or TikTok goes down for like a few hours. Literally, people will be rushing to like the next social media to tell everybody, to ask everybody, hey, is TikTok is Instagram down for you as well? Is TikTok down for you as well? Right? Doesn't that show you how they think? Like, I would remember, like, sometimes WhatsApp would not work at all. Instagram would not work at all. And I'll just be like, okay, sure, why not? But other people are, like, having anxiety and panic attacks and mental crises over it. And it could just be down. Like, I remember a time it was down for, like 5-6 hours. And people would just, like, especially, why isn't it that Twitter doesn't go down? Like, why? That would have been the one. Like, if it went down, like, the world would instantly be, like, a better place. And you'll see people like freaking out about it, like because they're not getting their like hourly fix of like garbage content shoved into their brains. And remember that these are the kinds of people that you're trying to assimilate with. Is that really what you think you are? Is that how you live yourself? If you don't want to live like that, you don't have to, and you shouldn't. There's a lot more. I would like to believe there's a lot more to life than just busting a nut and having to hate your life for the next 18 years because you didn't think that decision through. There's a lot more to life than doing that. Or ending up with like a chronic illness. And the worst part about it is people don't even get tested, right? It'd be one thing if you're just raw dogging and you're getting tested regularly. They don't even get tested. They don't use protection. They don't get tested. They don't do, they use hella, you don't even use like, okay, condoms would be birth control. All the hormonal pills women take, like, they're definitely not ideal to say the least. But again, it's just part of this culture, right? Doing something that's so terrible that weighs down on your own physiology just for some social validation, right? And it's more so because they don't just want to have like, what's like the female vasectomy called? Tubal litigation, I think, something like it. Whatever. They don't want to have that like that option cut off to them, right? Because they want to be like, oh, I want to have my fun, right? Men too, like they want to have their fun. Then like somewhere down the line, just have kids and pretend like it all didn't happen, and then pretend to be strict parents, right? It's such a clusterfuck of stupidity and ignorance and self-hatred and just toxicity. You shouldn't want to envy something like that, no matter how good it might seem to you. I'm pretty sure heroin probably seems good to you right now too, but like, don't try the stuff. I've never tried it. I don't plan to, but no, don't try it, right? There's a lot of things that look really good, but are really, really terrible. And I can say, if it's your life, go do what you want. Go experience whatever you want, whether or not you think it might be good or bad or whatever for you. But if enough people have spoken negatively about something that you can also see is empirically very negative on human beings, I take their advice. I personally learn from other people. That's primarily how I learn. That's why I don't end up in the kinds of situations they do, because they tell me about it and I'm like, okay, I'm not going to do that. Easy. So, if there's anything you can take from this, like, don't even be fixed to the idea of yourself, because that will always change, right? It's more about that relationship with yourself, as what I was saying. That will be there for the rest of your life. That is probably what you have to invest your energy in. Because if you're in a relationship with yourself, you will be able to track your changes and see yourself grow. Maybe other people will be able to see it too, but honestly, the more you invest in yourself, like truly, truly invest in yourself, whatever kind of dynamic it is you are striving for will be much easier to find, right? I'm not trying to promise anything or say like this will happen overnight or something. It probably never will happen. But at the same time, that's why I always say just have like really high standards but very low expectations. It's actually a pretty easy mindset to get used to, right? All things considered, it's one way I feel a lot of people would be much more fulfilled, maybe not happy, but much more fulfilled in their lives, right?